Good morning to all of you. Welcome to our Wednesday Namaste Lake Chapala session. So beautiful to see all of you. And it's so beautiful to feel the vibrancy of this holy joining that we share. Coming together with a single intention to know and to share what has always been true, what could never be interrupted. That's it. Just to know that. And then to extend that, because as we extend it, the more we give it away, the stronger and brighter that light becomes within us. The stronger and brighter that fire grows within us until there's nothing left but the fire. The fire is nothing more than the heat from that divine oneness that we share with everything. Everything that is real, and anything that is not part of that is not real. It's that simple. So we just allow that fire to show us the only thing that we need. And the vibrancy of this holy joining to lead us hand in hand into that holy light. That's why we come together. So I wanted to begin today by sharing a little portion of a poem from Hafiz. Many of you know Hafiz, the great Sufi poet. And I saw this on Facebook yesterday, and it described what I want to share so beautifully. I decided just to let this stand on its own. So here we go. See if you can just drink this in. Or better still, just to imagine that this is you saying this. Imagine that this is a description of exactly where you are, what you're feeling, what you're longing for. Really take this in as if it's your own. I have learned so much from God that I can no longer call myself a Christian, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Buddhist, or a Jew. The truth has shared so much of itself with me that I can no longer call myself a man, a woman, an angel, or even a pure soul. Love has befriended me so completely, it has turned to ash and freed me of every concept and image my mind has ever known. It has turned to ash and freed me of every concept and image I have ever known. So we come with wholly empty hands, ready to receive, ready to see, ready to allow everything we just heard, which is the truth, but to allow it to be true within our minds. Because it doesn't matter if it's true or not. If I wander away and refuse to see, if I close my eyes and block that holy vision, block everything we just heard, then it seems as if this is not who we are. It's not the truth of who we've always been. But if we open up our eyes and we move toward this, move into this fire, feel the heat, allow it to take us over, give everything to it, literally everything, knowing that in giving everything, everything returns. Instead of giving some things, giving most. Oops, sorry. Let me turn my ringer off. I love this poem because it describes what my experience is beautifully. And it describes really the only experience that ignites and allows us to fall backwards into that grace that we always have desired and wanted. And yet we get so clouded with other images and other ideas and other judgments and other whatever. And we pile them on top of one another so that we don't have to deal with that simple message that we just heard from Hafiz. And we decide who we are and what we want and what's important to us. And that we surround ourselves with people and friends who support those ideas, and we reject those who seem to oppose or have a different idea. And we create this feedback loop in our minds where we only hear what we want to hear or what we already believe. Anything else is rejected. This is where we find ourselves in the perceptual universe. We believe, first and foremost, that we are separate from all that is. And so we then create a feedback loop that supports that idea. And I begin to populate my world and my everything with ideas and people and thoughts and videos and stories and whatever it may be that supports that idea. And I reject anything that seems to remind me, like we just heard from Hafiz, that it isn't true. But I can't see that if all I'm hearing is this feedback loop that I've created that just keeps telling me the same thing. You're separate, you're alone, you need something, you have to fight for it, whatever it's saying to you. And it's going to show up for all of us in a myriad of different ways, but it's always going to be the same thing. You're alone in this. You're not one. And so we use this so-called world to keep that feedback loop going. And we reject anything else until we don't, until we come to the point that we're at now, where we realize that all of these ideas, all of these judgments, everything that we've decided are literally what are keeping us from realizing that we never left heaven. You've come to that point now where you're ready to open up your eyes. And this is why all week long we're looking at that one phrase. Whenever we hear anything, a story, a belief, someone's trying to tell us what's going on out there, instead of either listening or rejecting or deciding anything, we stay in that neutral place. Maybe. I don't know. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to see that I don't need to make a decision. I don't need to make a judgment. And it's in just holding still within that beautiful place that Hafiz just described, especially at the end where he says, it's all turned to ash and it's freed me of every concept and image my mind has ever known. Isn't that what we want? To be freed of every concept and every image that our minds have ever known? So I want to share something with you that relates to this. I'm sure that you can relate to having family members or friends or just people that you know who have a very different idea of what's going on out there. Now, as we said yesterday, there's really nothing going on out there. It's all happening right here. It's the decision that I choose to make about myself. But we're going to have people sharing videos and articles and ideas and concepts. This is what's happening out there, and you need to agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, I'm going to banish you. I'm going to lock you out because you're not in alignment with that feedback loop that I've created to make me believe that I'm right about this. Because what if I'm wrong? What would that mean? No, I have to be right. So if you're not in alignment, I'm going to banish you. How many of you have family members or friends like that? Well, I have a little brother who is, the closest member of my family to me. We're extremely close. But we have a very different feedback loop going on. For my brother, it's very Republican and Trump supporting and all of that, and that's fine. And what I've been trying to share with him is that's okay, but don't shut people out because they don't agree with you. Because he's been telling me, he actually sent me a text yesterday, said, do you know how many people I've banished? Do you want me to banish you too? I thought, first of all, you can't banish me. I'm your brother. Secondly, this is what we do to protect ourselves, to protect our concepts. And it's just an armor that means nothing, that keeps the divine from penetrating our hearts, that masculine force of God, that when we approach as a feminine soul, we allow ourselves to be penetrated, to have that armor be pierced. So I thought I would share my response to my brother and see if you can relate to this. I felt this is the only thing I really needed to say, because we'd been going back and forth. So I wrote, I have only one final thing that I want to share, and I promise then I'll shut up. I hope you'll read this, and if you have any thoughts, I'd like to hear them, and if you don't, that's okay too. I'm going to encourage you not to banish people from your life because you disagree with them, even if you passionately disagree with them. If you do, all that'll be left are people who think like you and agree with everything that you say, and that's even more dangerous. This only creates a feedback loop where you can only hear what you already believe, reinforcing what you think is true rather than being open to new ideas or new information. It's very similar to how social media works. I'm sure if I looked at your Facebook feed or go to your YouTube page, I would see very different posts and videos that I would see on my own. That's because they're designed to feed us only what we believe, whether it's true or not, and weed out the things that may contradict what we believe. Very dangerous. I believe that we're all going to heal faster if we're patient with one another and not push people away because they don't share the same opinions. I honor and respect your opinion, and I would like you to do the same, and it's okay if you don't. Here's the most important part. The only thing, or the only way we're going to get through this is if we listen to each other and have compassion. There were only two things that Jesus talked about over and over: loving God with your whole heart and loving other people in the same way, no matter what. In the end, this is what it means to be Christian or spiritual or simply to love. Jesus said that we don't gain anything by loving those who love us or agreeing with those who agree with us. It's hard to love people or listen to people who don't agree with us. But this is the work that we are called to do. This is the work of love. I think that's a good message for all of us at this time. Not to banish people for any reason. And in fact, if they don't agree with us, maybe even to draw them closer so that we can hear them, so that we can understand them. And in being healed ourselves, we allow healing to prevail between us both. Too many families are being torn apart right now because of silly ideas. People are banishing others just because of their beliefs or their politics or anything else. But it keeps going back to that beautiful poem from Hafiz. I'm going to share it one more time before I turn it over to Vicky, because I think this is all we really need. I have learned so much from God that I can no longer call myself a Christian or a Buddhist, a Hindu, a Muslim, or a Jew. The truth has shared so much of itself with me that I can no longer call myself a man or a woman or an angel. Love has befriended me so completely that it has turned to ash. The fire has turned to ash and freed me of every concept and image that my mind has ever known. This is what it means to be free. It's that simple. To just keep following the heat of that fire until there's nothing left but fire. So I hope that made sense. And I'm going to turn it over to our dear sister Vicky and see what she would like to add to that. Good morning, Vicky.
Good morning, Jimmy. And I never heard that particular poem. I like it. I love it very much because uh, what happens in the ash is that really love burns away everything, and it doesn't matter. It does it, and it changes. Love changes our perception here, even when we find ourselves in time without some mystical experience. When we've had that shift, and if and when that comes to any of us, it's such a blessed moment when we shift from all of our thinking to that spaciousness of kind of light and seeing that everything is burned away in that. It doesn't matter the positions, all that's left is love. And a practical way of doing it, and I've seen this with my own son. Like, there isn't anything my son could say to me. Now, all of us have someone maybe in our lives that we do love unconditionally, that it doesn't matter what their ideas or positions of anything are, it won't matter. And he is my he is my barometer for me of how to treat everyone. So I wouldn't care who Teddy was for. I would just say, I want to hear it, Teddy. Just tell me. And I listen open mindedly, not with, oh, I'm going to argue with him. I got a better position. I just, the joy of listening to him speak to me, just to speak, is what love is. And maybe that's one of the only places I know true love. And I try to expand that experience to everyone and everything. I'm not always successful, I can see that, because I see where I'm looking somewhere for agreement or to get something from someone. And I get on myself so quickly, but that's the example for me that's very practical and very grounded. There is no need in me to try and change his mind about anything. I just love his beingness, and I love his ability to express whatever it is, and I find joy in whatever it is, even if I'm totally opposite in my own loop thinking. I'm always willing to question it because I trust the love more than I trust any information. Love changes our perception. It has changed mine. And I see all I want to do is let that be everywhere for me. Simple, that simple perception, even in time, of love, of receiving my brother, whoever he is, with full acceptance, full appreciation, full welcome, full wonder. Like, I listen to every word Teddy says about anything with, oh, really, really, like total wonder. I see I've got to do that. It's what taught me how to be a good house mother with all the kids through the years. I knew I had to treat everyone like I treated my own son, and I have to see everyone, especially in these times of division. Especially, I had a neighbor that came over yesterday and said, "You have to help me. My partner won't speak to me because of our political views." And we talked, and I said, well, what can you appreciate about her political view? Yeah, just listen to what she appreciates, and appreciate with her. That's what love does. It appreciates. Love appreciates, and it goes beyond the boundaries of the story to the essence of the being that we join with, because it's just another way of joining. And then the issues fall away, because when there's no resistance in me, I see that the issue with my brother isn't there anymore, because I was either maintaining it and sustaining it by a little resistance of my own storyline. And when I don't have any, I have no outcome other than love and joining, the resistance falls away. And even if we have different loops, opinions, the joining stays there. So love, love works in all dimensions, even in and out of time. But right now, we need it to work in time. We need to be where we are and use love as our barometer, use love and joining as the bottom line, not our positions with one another, especially when we're opposed to one another. So, and I saw it was simple. The answer was simple. Don't try and express your point of view. Just listen with love. There's no goal. There's no reason to have someone agree or disagree. The only goal is that we join and love one another. And that changes everything. That goes back to a single goal, let your eye be single. When our eye is single for only, I'm here to love and bless, then it has to show up in these practical situations. And one way it shows up is we do, like you said, listen to one another and appreciate what the light someone's seeing in a brother that maybe I didn't see before. And oh, thank you for that. And that, thank you for that. And that listening with welcome, listening with wonder is what love is. And we need to be all about it. We're all being called to active duty, and the duty is to love, and the fulfillment is to love. So,
Good
amen. Here's my brother.
morning, Teddy.
Morning. So I get, it's like it's really funny. I listened. So I'm going to say two things. Number one is, to me, the intensity of disagreement proves the depth of love that person has. Like if the person disagrees with you completely, there's a depth of love there that he can't express, and that's what's going on. And then the other part is this. I really, when I was listening to what you were saying about High Feast says, really, I can't thank the old man, master teacher, and Jesus enough, because the only thing that Jesus or the old man would say is at the end of what High Feast says about none of my concepts, blah 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 blah. They would both say, including this one.
Yeah.
They would include the idea that the concept that they said is just as meaningless as any other concept that has ever been expressed. And I so thank Jesus and I so thank the old man for reminding me of that constantly. I could just cry.
That's so good. Wow. There's a Stevie Wonder song. I was just listening to it the other day, uh, on one of his early '70s albums, and the song is "Love's in Need of Love Today." And I was thinking about that when you were talking, Vicky and Teddy. Love's in need of love today, always, in every moment. And that spaciousness that you use of that word, Vicky, spaciousness. This is what happens to us when we just allow love to show us the way, as opposed to when we have an opinion, we're contracted. I'm right. This is my opinion. And the stronger the opinion, the tighter the contraction. But when we just come at it, and even if I have an opinion, to have it be a loose opinion, it doesn't matter. It's just an idea. It means nothing. Just like you said, Teddy, even the concept that nothing means anything is a concept that I have to let go of. Even that. So it's a constant surrendering. It's a constant allowing. It's a constant no resistance. Just to not resist anything, especially in my brother or sister, because this is how we create that this is how the fire is enlivened between us, and then there's no need to banish. That was the main thing I was trying to communicate to my brother. Don't banish people because they don't agree with you. Bring them closer, if anything, to show that no opinions mean anything. None of this means anything. And if we would just stay in that holy place and just allow the fire itself to just burn away all opinions, all concepts, we're going to be much better off. So thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Teddy. We're going to go ahead and go over to Namaste now. I can see the tops of all of your heads, but that's about it. So there we go. Thank you. Good morning. Christina, did you have anything that you would like to say about that? The release of concepts?
Places.
There you go.
Keep my eyes closed the whole time. Beautifully expressed, even though words are so limited. I couldn't help but feel that sweet love of the sun, Vicky, when I heard you sharing.
I love that example, Vicky. That was beautiful.
And if I have come to recognize that the thoughts that are going on in this apparent mind are not real, are not worthy of my attention, are not, um, the focus is not upon them, then I also must recognize that the thoughts that are going on in another person's mind are also not worthy of attention. Not in a way of ignoring my brother, but in a way of not attaching and getting stuck to whatever is passing by at the moment. A thought, a belief, an opinion is just passing phenomenon, just like everything else. And so if this mind is speaking and I am not if I am not paying attention, I am not continually validating what's being thought, then I hope nobody else is validating or paying attention to the thoughts that are coming out of this mind either, if they come out of the mouth. And that is also true with each other. If I have compassion and empathy, which naturally arises from that place of love as we are silent, then whatever is passing through the mind is what passes. And whatever passes through my brother's mind is what passes. And there's an empathy and a compassion there for the mere aspect of just being human and experiencing a mind and experiencing opinions and thoughts and beliefs that arise and pass. And so may we extend that recognition. If these thoughts are not important in this mind, if I lose my identification with them and I'm just simply here and present, then they also are not worthy of getting stuck to in another person's mind. So many words to explain something that is so wordless.
Yeah, experience of that. But a few words came to me as well from that beautiful expression. And if those of you who are students of A Course in Miracles will recognize this, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Can it get any more simple than that? My meaningless thoughts and all of our meaningless thoughts. And so why would I attach to your meaningless thoughts if I'm not even attaching to my own? That's all you said. That's all we're saying. There's no reason to defend my meaningless thoughts. There's no need for me to assert my meaningless thoughts if I realize they're meaningless, that they're just judgments that mean nothing. And there's a freedom, there's a lightness, there's a spaciousness within that, as Vicky said. When I really get that my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world, that allows me to surrender them all and to not attach to yours. And then we become the fire that allows others to realize the same. When people feel the freedom that we're experiencing and expressing by not attaching to meaningless thoughts, there's something so seductive about that, because we all know at the core of our being that this is the path to allow the meaningless to be meaningless, not to attach to it, not to put any importance. My brother doesn't need to agree with me for me to love him. It has nothing to do with it. Vicky, when you talked about Teddy, your son, it was the same thing with my daughter, but also my brother and with you. And if I could have that for everybody, imagine how that would be. There's nothing Vicky could ever say to me that would make me say, yeah, I'm banishing you. Nothing. Maybe, I don't know, but no. What if we had that for everyone? The same love that we would have for our child or for our best friend. That there's nothing they could ever say that would ever interrupt the constant flow of love and passion that I feel for them. And it all begins, as we keep going back this week, with that simple neutral place of maybe I don't know. Thank you. Thank you, Christina. Is there anybody else there at Namaste that would like to share anything? Anybody at all?
What she said.
Jeff.
There's so much being shared here without words. Just feel it.
That's a good idea. Let everybody just take a deep breath for a moment. Let's just feel this. No words. If it's a bright, sunny day and you're basking in the sunlight and you're feeling the warmth, do you have a need to analyze that? Do you have a need to explain what that is? No. There are no words. You just feel the warmth of the light. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Vicky, is there any final thought that you'd like to share?
I love you. Love trumps everything.
Good choice of words. Love trumps everything. I love it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being the witness to this holy joining that we share. It's the only thing we share. It's the only thing there is. So let's continue to share it.